Bonjour, Kinamagi and Nene Ireland Indigenous, and welcome to today's My Math presentation, the Chapter 2 review. Let's begin with the vocabulary check. And on this page, I'm going to go ahead and put the answers up so that we can review it together. Compatible numbers, F. These are numbers that are easy to multiply mentally. So it's not necessarily worried about what the rules of rounding are, but something that you can easily do. This will become especially important when we get into division as well. Product, G, that is the answer to a multiplication problem. Number 3, powers of 10, E. This is a number like 10, 100, 1000, and so on, is a result of using only 10 as a factor. So if you notice, it's a 1 and the rest are zeros. But realistically, 30 is and 300 follow the same rules, except that you have a 3 times 10 or 100. Number 4C, a factor, is a number that divides into a whole number evenly. It's also a number that's multiplied by another number. So those numbers in our multiplication problems, the one this times that, this and that are factors. Number 5, prime factorization, D, way of expressing a composite number as a product of its prime factors. Remember, a composite number has at least 3 factors. Prime numbers only have one and themselves. Number 6, distributive property, B. This property states that to multiply a number by a sum, you can multiply each addend by the number and add the products. Kind of that step between taking the area model into our multiplication. Great example of how we might do it in our heads, to be honest. Number 7, exponent, H. In power, this number represents the number of times the base is used as a factor. So in a number like 9 to the 4th power, 9 is our base, which is in I, the number that's repeated. But the exponent 4 tells you how many times you're multiplying it. So it'd be 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. And power is a number obtained by raising a base to an exponent. So 3 to the 5th power, for example. Let's turn off our answers before I go to the next page. So prime factorization of 12. You might go 12, well, that's 4 times 3. So I have a 3. But 4 is 2 times 2, so I have 2 times 2 times 3. And that would be a prime factorization. Factor trees are great here. Let me grab our annotation tool. $42 is going to be 2 times 21. 21 is 3 times 7. So 2 times 3 times 7 would get you 42. There's nothing that goes into any of these 3 numbers that I'm circling. And the reason I'm circling them is sometimes you want to make sure you can figure out which numbers were your end of your stem. So I could have also just brought this down again. Write each product using an exponent. Well, you take that 10, and there's 2 of them. Sorry about my messiness. 10 to the 2nd power. Let's erase that a little bit. So let's go back to our tool. 10 to the 2nd power. I have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So the number, the base is 5. That's the number I keep going. And I'm using it 4 times, 5 to the 4th. Doing it mentally, I'd go 10 squared is like 100. So I'd put 73 plus 2 zeros, 7,300. 6 times 4 is 24 plus zeros, 2,400. 72 times 36. I would like you to actually try to answer this problem for me. and see how you do. And I'll turn on the answer for you in just a hot second. Pause the video and see you in a second. Welcome back. Let's turn on the answer. You should have got 2592. Use your estimate to go see if you're close. Let's do 23 times 84 together. You see it written up. I want you to try to answer these questions on your own paper and then come back and see what you did. So go ahead and pause your video now. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. 3 times 4 is 12. I regroup the 1 because I can't put a 12 in the ones place. 1 digit only. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. And now I will go over here to the 8, which is 8 times 10. So that's my times 10. 8 times 3 is 24. I'll regroup the 2. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2 is 18. And let's go ahead and add it up. 2, 9 and 4 is 13. Regroup the 1, I get a 9. And then a 1, 1,932. How'd you do? Hopefully well. Let's go back to our shared screen here. And we see we have it right. Let's do number 19 together. We want to use the distributive property. I'm going to write it on my board. Go ahead and write it on your paper, and then let's break it down. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and see on the other side. Welcome back. I'm going to stop my share for a second here. I have 71 and 8. So I'm going to go 8 times 70 plus 1. You remember on our area model, we put the 7 because that's in the tens place. That's your 70. There's my ones place. Well, I'm going to use my distributive property to go 8 times 70 plus 8 times 1. Many of you could probably do this mentally, but I want you to be able to write it out as well. 8 times 7 is 56. There's 1 0. 8 times 1 is 8. So we have 560 plus 8, which is 568. Compare your answer. If you need to write something down, you can pause the video and keep writing it down and then come back. Otherwise, let's reshare our screen. And check the next page. It's always good to look at the story problems. Use the following information and estimate to find the distance sound travels through each material in a given time. Sound travels through different materials at different speeds. For example, the graph shows that in 1 second, sound travels 5,971 meters through stone. However, it travels only 346 meters through air in 1 second. So now, how far would it go through air in 20 seconds? Well, air is 346. We'd multiply that by 2 times 10. So we would end up getting, let's bring up the answer for you. Oh, they're just estimating. Sorry about that. So I would round that to 350 times 2 is 70 plus that extra 0. Or 2 zeros, 7,000. Stone, they rounded it to 6,000 times 10. So 6 times 1 is 6. There's 4 zeros. So they all get to be there, 6,000. Make sure you're looking through. We also have one more additional problem. Sylvia is saving to buy a new terrarium for her iguana. She saves $2 the first week, $4 the second, $8 the third, and so on. How much will she save in 5 weeks? Build a table. I would literally do it this way. Put the week number, here's your 5, the amount saved, put in the information they gave you. Then find the pattern. They doubled it. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32. Add those all up and you would have $62. In 6 weeks, you'll have saved $126, which is enough to buy the terrarium. So that's kind of the steps that we have there. If you have any questions ahead of our next assessment, please do message me. Email me at mireland@psychchipschool.net or attend office hours. They're scheduled at 2 o'clock to 2:45. Or you can try to make an appointment with me and we'll sit down and kind of do a mini lesson together. So without further ado, hope you all have a Mino Gizigat. Bama P.